ഞാൻ രാജശ്രീ വെങ്കിട്ടരമണൻ 130 വാക്ക് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഷോർട്ട് സ്പീഡ് ഡിക്റ്റേഷനാണ് വായിക്കുന്നത്. സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യാത്തവർ ആരെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ദയവായി സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക. ഇത് നല്ലവണ്ണം 4 പ്രാവശ്യമെങ്കിലും മിനിമം പ്രാക്ടീസ് ചെയ്താൽ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഹയർ, ഹൈ സ്പീഡ്, SSC എല്ലാം നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വളരെ നല്ലവണ്ണം എഴുതുവാൻ സാധിക്കുന്നതാണ്. ഓക്കെ. Economic development is the core of our policies and programs. Progress has to be made both in the agriculture and the industrial sector. So far as food grains are concerned, we have passed through crisis. It was a difficult period of scarcity and of high prices. The government did not get any cooperation from the trading community, especially from those dealing with food grains. We had to adopt a policy of tightening regulations and checks. Our policy has borne fruit. There were difficulties, but ultimately the dispatch of food grains on a state-to-state basis did the job. The needs of the different states and of the country as a whole were met, although the public did have to face a difficult situation. In the industrial field too, there has been constant progress and development. A large number of industries have been set up in both the private and the public sector. The progress might have been slow in certain sectors or in some projects during this period, but if we take things as a whole, our future seems to be quite bright and hopeful. We expect to have much greater production, and perhaps during the last few years. There is no alternative to heavy taxation in the general interest of our society. We have big responsibilities. We have to find resources for the implementation of our plans and achieve certain targets. In that context, we have to resort to heavy taxation, although individually we have to suffer. We will have to accept it in the general interest of our country. Industrialization is not an end in itself. It is essential as it increases the supply of food goods which people need and provides employment and livelihood to our growing population. Clearly then, in the choice of measures to help industry, the government cannot forget the interest of labor or of the consumer. Nothing would make the government happy than to see an increasing sense of social responsibility in industry, since this will make it possible for the government to concentrate more on measures to help industry rather than to control it. If we are careful in examining our resources and plan accordingly, there is no reason why we cannot go ahead successfully with our planned projects. Both the public and private sectors must function in India, and they should not work at cross purpose with each other. Wherever the public sector projects have come up, a large number of private industries have also been established. What our country needs today is more production, and whether it is done in the public sector or in the private sector, it means the same thing. It really means giving more employment to our people as well as producing more goods in India so that we do not have to depend on foreign countries. We have in our budget proposals provided for incentives for greater production. In fact, the budget is production oriented. Relief in excise duty has been provided for. In case there is greater production in certain commodities, relief in excise duties will be given. There is also reduction in personal taxation, and as far as one can see, taxation measures have been rationalized and put on a more suitable, stable basis. Quality and cost are as important as increase in production. In this respect, our experience has not been very happy. The budget proposals provide incentives whereby a developing country like ours can compete with more advanced countries in the world market. This is one of the most important things which must receive our very careful consideration. It is high time we realize the importance of consulting our technical and scientific personnel. Basically, the greatest shortage in all developing countries is that of capital. While these countries must do everything possible to encourage the formation of domestic capital, it is quite clear that their own efforts will not suffice to achieve a tolerable rate of progress.